Hi. You do love your brother, don't you?
Yes. If you had a brother, you could understand.
Well, I've got family. I think I understand. I didn't come here to argue with you.
Then why did you come?
I feel sorry for you. It must hurt like hell.
Not at all. The whole thing is a farce. It's laughable.
Well, I feel sorry for you, but I don't feel much sympathy for him. You know, your brother, he's got what's coming.
You've been waiting for Alan's come-up for 3 years, haven't you, Buzz? You and everybody else in this town who hates him. Well, we are used to people lining up to take pot shots at us.
Al, you're not in this league. Come on. I mean, you got a heart. That guy has a stone where his heart.
Oh, come on. I'm not going to listen to another word of this. You know what? You're going to find out when the judge comes out here. She's going to rule that there's absolutely no grounds for trial.
You know what? All I was going to say was I hoped he'd learned his lesson this time.
I really don't need sanctimonious sympathy from a fair-weather friend, Dave. Good day, Buzz. Good day.
Well, it won't be long now. Thing will be over real soon.
Very soon.
No sign of Tangi?
I haven't seen her.
Maybe she's not coming.
Not come. Why would she? How could she do that?
Maybe she can't bring herself to testify, Alex.
Alan, honestly, you never stop giving that girl too much credit. What?
You're early, Miss Hill.
Yes, I wanted to be here from the beginning.
I'm afraid you're going to have to wait in the witness room until you're called.
Oh, I didn't realize. How long will that be?
It depends how long the defense takes. They're presenting a motion.
To do what?
I can't say. This guard right here will show you where you can wait.
All rise for Judge Helen Jordan.
Please be seated. In the matter of the People versus Alan Spaulding, this is a preliminary hearing to determine if there are grounds for a trial. Bailiff, read the charges.
The People are charging Alan Spaulding with the obstruction of justice and aiding and abetting a fugitive.
I motion to dismiss, Your Honor.
I have your motion, Mr. Dickerson.
Yes, but if I may elaborate, Your Honor.
Briefly.
No proof has been presented to indicate that any act on my client's part obstructed justice. Now, the aiding and abetting charges have all been pulled out of some incredibly prejudicial hat. It's all just sleight of hand. Now, the man in question, the man that my client is accused of aiding and abetting, Brent Lawrence, was never proven to be a criminal.
Well, I have the police records here, Counselor. They certainly indicate that they conducted an extensive search for Mr. Lawrence.
Brent Lawrence was never found guilty in a court of law.
Perhaps because he died before he could be apprehended. I don't think you want to argue his guilt or innocence in my court.
No, Your Honor, I do not.
Motion to dismiss?
But, Your
Denied.
Honor, I just believe
we
that...
will proceed with the hearing. Mr. Robinson, call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The People call Detective Patrick Cutter.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Be seated.
You're a detective with the Springfield Police Department, are you not, sir?
Yes, sir, I am.
In fact, you headed up the manhunt for the alleged rapist, Brent Lawrence, did you not?
Yes, sir, I did.
But unfortunately, he eluded capture.
Yes, sir, he did.
Could you tell the court how that happened?
Well, Mr. Lawrence has a history of violence, especially towards women.
Objection. Alleged violence, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Miss Lucy Cooper alleged that Mr. Lawrence raped her, and judging from his subsequent actions, I have no reason to believe otherwise.
Is there anything else, Detective?
Yes, he held another woman, Miss Tangi Hill, hostage at gunpoint and threatened her with her life.
Objection. We only have Miss Hill's word for that.
Overruled. Continue.
He then proceeded to try and ambush Miss Lucy Cooper and Mr. Alan Michael Spaulding at the dock where Mr. Alan Michael Spaulding keeps his yacht. A fight ensued, and Mr. Lawrence fell, shot by his own gun. The two assumed that he was dead. They left the scene to report the incident to the police. My colleague, Detective Levy, showed up at the dock a little bit later, and Mr. Lawrence had departed the scene.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Detective. So, though it seemed clear that Mr. Lawrence wasn't dead, you assumed that he was wounded.
Oh, yes, and very dangerous. We combed the town, but we came up with nothing. We got a break when WSPR set up a TV call-in show, and with the help of Miss Lucy Cooper and Miss Tangi Hill, we were able to bait Mr. Lawrence into phoning in.
And that's how you got a fix on his hideout.
Yes, sir, that's correct. We tracked him to a motel room on the outskirts of town, but when we arrived, he had already fled.
Thank you, Detective. I have no further questions at this time, Your Honor. However, I do intend to recall the witness at a later time.
Very well. Mr. Dickerson,
No questions, Your Honor.
you may step down, detective.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You may call your next witness, Mr. Robinson.
The people call Mr. Alan Michael Spaulding.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So help me God. Brent was dying, and he knew it. So he wanted to clear his conscience, set the record straight.
And the record had to do with your father.
Yes, he said that my father wanted to destroy me.
Are you all right, Mr. Spaulding?
Yes.
All right, then. Did Mr. Lawrence tell you how your father intended to destroy you?
Yes, by discrediting me at Spaulding Enterprises. He used Brent to do that. He gave him access to the corporate records. He had him cook the books, so it made me look like I was negligent or worse.
Your Honor, I have to object. This is all completely irrelevant.
Well, I agree. It could be considered so at trial, but this is a hearing, and I'm allowing leeway in the testimony. Go ahead, Mr. Robinson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Go on, Mr. Spaulding.
He said that my father paid him to doctor the books. This man who raped someone that I love. And he's
Your Honor, this is nothing more than the wildest speculation, supposition, and conjecture.
At least one of those is correct, Mr. Dickerson. Sustained.
Now, Mr. Spaulding, during your conversation with the dying man, something else happened. What was that?
Yes, Brent's sister arrived, Cassie Lawrence.
And what did Cassie Lawrence tell you?
She told me that my father had bribed her to get Brent out of the country, provided her with airline tickets and fake passports, and promised to pay them a great sum of money. They were to start new lives, both Brent and Cassie Lawrence, out of the country.
Is there anyone else who can corroborate this besides Miss Lawrence?
Yes, there is.
And who might that be?
My father, Alan Spaulding.
Your father, Alan Spaulding, confirmed that, in fact, what Brent and Cassie Lawrence told you was the truth.
Yes, he did. He told me that their accusations were true.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Your witness, Mr. Dickerson.
Mrs. Spaulding, isn't it true that your entire testimony is simply a product of your anger and resentment against your father?
No.
Well, things haven't been going well for you professionally, and you believe that your girlfriend had been raped.
She was raped. Are you trying to say that that never
I'm
happened?
saying that your accusation that Brent Lawrence was working on your father's behalf has no foundation.
My father admitted it.
We have only your word for it. There's no proof. Nothing to support your contention. Now, the only thing that is clear is that you're practically willing to say anything to discredit your father. Now, I do realize that fathers and sons have complicated relationships, but I don't understand why it is that
Your
you
Honor, I thought this was supposed to be a cross-examination. Instead, we're all being treated to an introduction to Psych 1, passing as an opening statement.
Well, I had to listen to yours.
Okay, stop it. Stop it. Both of you. You will show this court some respect. You're both officers of the court. Behave as such.
I apologize, Your Honor.
You can continue your cross-examination, counselor, but please confine it to questions.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Spaulding, did anyone else witness Brent's dying confession?
I told you.
Did anyone else hear him name Alan Spaulding?
I told you.
That's right, Brent's sister, right? Cassie Lawrence. But you see, Cassie Lawrence is conveniently missing. Now, can you talk to us about that?
About Cassie Lawrence being missing. I'm not sure I know what you're asking, Mr. Dickerson.
Your Honor, I'd like to offer Defense Exhibit A.
What is it, Mr. Dickerson?
It's a check. It's signed by Alan Michael Spaulding, and it's made out to Cassie Lawrence. Mr. Spaulding, this is your signature, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Now I'm curious because I want to know why it is that you would write out a check to Cassie Lawrence. I mean, this is somebody that you barely knew. Was it perhaps by her silence?
No,
Get her out of town?
it was because
So
I
she
was
couldn't
I
come
felt
forward
sorry
and
for her
contradict your
brother,
testimony?
who my father...
I object. He's badgering the witness.
Stand back, Mr. Dickerson. You're standing too close. You're not allowing the witness to answer, and you're asking four-part questions.
I apologize.
I don't want apologies. I want a proper cross.
Certainly, Your Honor. Isn't it true, Mr. Spaulding, that you and your father have had problems over the years?
Yes.
Fundamental differences?
There's no secret to that.
Well, then let's get to the bottom line here. You loathe your father.
No.
Weren't you responsible for putting him in prison 5 years ago? Yes or no, Mr. Spaulding? Your Honor, the witness is being unresponsive.
I can't answer that. It's not a yes or no question.
Well, isn't it true that you have always resented the fact that your father favored your older brother? Isn't it true that you always felt that your father never respected you? Isn't it true, Alan Michael Spaulding, that deep down in your gut, you always despised your father? Yes! Yes, it's true.
I think now would be a good time to take our recess. We'll reconvene in 15 minutes.
All rise.
You all right? Where you
Yes,
going?
ma'am.
Okay, I'll go with you. Sit close.
Alan, let me tell you something. Don't you ever go anywhere again without telling me where you're going, all right? If the judge found out you were badgering a witness.
Just be quiet, Sid. I need to know something. What kind of sentence would I get for a guilty plea?
A guilty plea, and Alan, you're not.
How many years would I get?
2 to 5 if you were lucky. What brought this on?
All rise.
Be seated. Now that we're all comfortable, Mr. Robinson, your next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The people call Miss Tangi Hill.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please be seated, Miss Hill. Mr. Robinson, proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Miss Hill. You're a Springfield resident, aren't you?
Yes,
How long have you lived here?
about 2 years.
Could you be a little more specific?
October 1993, I moved here.
Thanks. Where are you employed?
At the Springfield Journal?
As a reporter.
Yes.
And before that?
The Roadhouse, it's a restaurant. I attended bar part-time.
And that's where you first met Alan Spaulding.
Yes. He had recently returned.
After his 5-year prison term.
Objection.
Sustained. I suggest caution, Mr. Robinson.
Noted, Your Honor. Miss Hill, how long have you known Mr. Spaulding?
We met a year ago.
How would you describe your relationship?
We were friends.
Will you please describe for the court what that friendship was based on? Thank you, Miss Hill. I have no further questions.
Very well. Mr. Dickerson?
Ms. Alexandra Spaulding will conduct the cross, Your Honor.
Your Honor. Miss Hill, does the term slut mean anything to you?
Objection.
Overruled. Answer the question.
She has no right to question me.
This is my courtroom, Miss Hill. I make the rules. Continue, counsel. Thank you, Your Honor. Then, what about the terms whore and gold digger? Those seem to describe you accurately, do they not, Miss Hill?
They do not.
Answer yes or no.
No.
Ha-ha! We can add liar to the list as well. You claim to be a responsible reporter, Miss Hill, yet you do not understand the meaning of the word truth.
No.
What about perjury? Surely you know what that means.
You're twisting my words.
Exactly as you twisted Mr. Spaulding around your greasy, greedy little false fingernails. You turned his friendly affection and attention into something sordid to your own selfish ends, didn't you?
No, that's not fair.
Stick to the question. Miss Hill, did you not encourage his confidence?
Yes.
Did you not try to find out everything you could about his business, all of his vast financial holdings?
No.
Did you not write flattering articles about him, boosting your own esteem with him and the journal, of course?
Well, maybe just one, but it was really small.
Your Honor, may you please instruct the witness to answer the question. Stop hemming and hawing.
I'm telling the truth.
For the last time, Miss Hill, yes or no?
To what? What are you asking?
Were you not Mr. Spaulding's dinner guest at the Towers Club?
Yes.
And on his private jet?
Yes.
And at the country club?
Yes.
And had breakfast in his home?
Yes.
After you spent the night there?
Yes.
After you spent the night with him?
Objection, objection.
Overruled.
I loved him.
You used him. You never loved Alan Spaulding.
That's not true.
You used this man. You took him for everything he had, and now you've turned your back on him, and you're trying to destroy him. That is the truth, is it not, Miss Hill?
Well, that's not the way it was.
Speak up, Miss Hill.
Please, Your Honor, I'm begging you.
I will hold you in contempt of court. Yes or no, Miss Hill?
Fine. Yes, I confess. I never loved you. I was just using you. I loved your money, and I loved your power. And I hope you rot in jail for all of your miserable little life.
Your Honor, I rest our case. Tangi Hill, I find you in contempt of court, guilty of perjury, and too many other things even mentioned right now. Bear, take her away.
No, that isn't right.
Okay, you heard the judge. You're the one's going to prison. Let's move it.
No. No, it's not right.
Yep.
No.
Up, up.
I'll get you. I'll get you.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Alan Spaulding, please rise. I find the defendant falsely accused and innocent of all charges trumped up by an ungrateful son and an unscrupulous woman. As one of Springfield's outstanding citizens, you are free to go.
Thank you, Alan.
Saved my life, my sanity. I will spend the rest of my days thanking you for that.
Oh. Well, yes, I knew Brent Lawrence. He terrorized me with a gun for several hours.
Objection, Your Honor. This is irrelevant.
Overruled.
Is it true that Mr. Lawrence was working for Alan Michael Spaulding at Spaulding Enterprises?
Yes.
Is it also true that he was doing some extra work for Alan Spaulding?
Yes.
Objection.
Overruled.
I'll rephrase. Did Brent Lawrence tell you that Alan Spaulding was using him to undermine his son?
Well, he told a lot of us at the Towers one night. Alan Michael, me.
Did you believe him?
I questioned Alan.
How did he respond?
He said that Brent was was merely a disgruntled employee who was seeking revenge.
But eventually you did write a story detailing Mr. Lawrence's accusations against Mr. Spaulding.
Yes, that was when Brent pulled a gun on me.
Well, would you explain that to the court? Overruled. Go ahead.
Well, we had all thought that he disappeared, that he'd gotten on a plane and had taken off. But he showed back up in town again, and he came to my place, and he said his side of the story hadn't been told and that I was going to write it.
He forced you to write down what he told you.
Yeah, I refused. He got angry. I don't know, I threw something at him, and he got upset. He pulled the gun.
Objection, Your Honor. This witness is all over the place.
The court wants to hear this. Please go on.
Well, he wanted me to write his side of the story. He got me on the computer, and I was linked up via modem to the Journal, so he dictated and I wrote.
And what happened next?
I had a visitor, and after she left, Brent was gone. He just disappeared.
Who was that visitor, Miss Hill?
Lucy Cooper, the woman that Brent had raped.
Objection, irrelevant, Your Honor.
Overruled. Answer the question.
Your Honor, if you'll just bear with me, I can assure you that this line is relevant.
We'll see. Go ahead, Mr. Robinson.
And so Brent finally called WSPR, and the police were able to track down an address.
And what happened next?
I went with the police to find him.
And when you got there, what happened?
Brent was gone. And I found a button.
Miss Hill, what did you do with that button?
I asked Alan about it.
And can you tell the court why?
Because it was the same button that had come.
Objection.
It was an identical button, Your Honor.
Let's try this. What action did you take after realizing that a similar button was missing from Mr. Spaulding's coat?
I went to him and I demanded an explanation.
And what did he do?
Oh, he didn't really give me one.
Miss Hill, as best as you can remember, tell the court what he told you.
He said that there were 1,000 buttons like it, and that it could have come off anybody's coat.
What did you do then?
I was upset.
Can you tell the court why?
Because Alan and I had gotten very close. And I thought our relationship was based on trust and honesty. That it was about the truth. And I went to get the truth. The whole truth.
Miss Hill, what is the whole truth? Did you confront Mr. Spaulding in an effort to get the truth?
Yes, I followed him to the president's office at Spaulding Enterprises.
And when you got there, what did you see?
He was behind closed doors. He was arguing with his attorney, Sid Dickerson.
Mr. Spaulding and Mr. Dickerson. Did you hear what they were arguing about?
No, I mean, I just heard bits and pieces. I didn't find out until later what it was that they were discussing.
Could you elaborate?
Mr. Dickerson was refusing to deliver a briefcase.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Did you know what was in that briefcase?
Not at the time?
Did you find out later?
Yes. Money. Cash.
How much?
Oh, I have no idea. Hundreds. Stacks of hundreds.
And what did you do then, Miss Hill?
I accused Alan of using it to pay off Brent, to get him out of town so that no one would know that they were connected.
And how did he respond?
He denied it. But eventually, he told me it was true.
Order, please. I'll have to ask you all to control your reactions and comments. If not, I'll clear the courtroom. Proceed, Counselor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Hill, could you tell the court specifically what Mr. Spaulding's admission involved?
Objection, Your Honor.
Mr. Dickerson, you will have your opportunity to question the witness. You may answer, Miss Hill.
That he was using Brent to cook the Spaulding books. Brent doctored the books.
To what end?
To make his son, Alan Michael, look ineffective as president.
Mr. Spaulding's own son?
Yes.
And did he tell you exactly what was in that briefcase?
Objection, Your Honor. He's leading the witness.
I'm curious, too.
How much money?
Overruled. Go ahead.
He just told me that he was giving the money to Brent so that Brent would just disappear.
Quiet, please. I won't tolerate another demonstration. Continue, Mr. Robinson.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Your witness, Mr. Dickerson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Miss Hill, I realize that this is quite no deal for you, so I will try to make it as painless as possible. Would you like some water?
No, thank you.
You know, you said that your relationship with Mr. Spaulding, you described it as close, that you guys were friends. Now, did this close friendship include cohabiting with him?
No, we never lived together.
So it's your sworn testimony that you did not move into the Spaulding mansion with Mr. Spaulding at any period of time?
Well, that's not the same thing.
Answer the question, Miss Hill.
I stayed there a few nights.
And you shared a bed with Mr. Spaulding?
Well, that's not the point. I stayed there for my own
Yes
protection.
or no, Miss Hill?
Yes, but I stayed there.
Yes will suffice. Now, is it also true that Mr. Spaulding gave you clothing?
That's ridiculous.
I'll answer the question, Miss Hill. Was there an occasion where Mr. Spaulding provided you with clothing?
He loaned me a period gown
Did
that
he
I
give
wore at Fifth
you
Street Ball.
jewelry?
A pin. I gave it
Okay,
back.
describe that pin.
It was shaped like a swan.
Okay, was it silver, gold, platinum,
It was
adorned
very
with
simple,
anything?
Sid.
Yes, it's very simple, very expensive. Your Honor, I have here a jeweler's receipt in the amount of $25,000.
Order.
Your Honor.
I'll take
Your Honor, he's twisting this all
Miss
around.
Hill. Miss Hill, I must ask you to restrict your comments to the questions being asked. Do you want to take a break?
No, thank you.
Miss Hill, did this swan design on the pin have any particular significance for you and Mr. Spaulding?
He said it reminded him of me and some characters in a story.
In a story. Well, in the interest of time, I'd like to tell the court that the swan is a romantic character in a legend. So, would it be fair to say to you, Miss Hill, that this swan symbolized your relationship with Mr. Spaulding? Romantic in nature?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled. Please answer.
For a little while. A little while.
Well, for the record, Miss Hill, just how many other romantic involvements have you enjoyed in your relatively short stay
Your
here
Honor,
at Springfield?
objection! My witness's private life is not germane.
Her romantic relationship with Mr. Spaulding seems to be part of an ongoing pattern, so I think it most certainly is.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
May we approach the bench? Your Honor, it is essential that I dig into the witness's personal background.
I strongly disagree. It's unnecessary, it's improper, and it's merely an attempt to undermine my witness's credibility.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a brief recess to consider counsel's arguments. When we resume, I'll rule on the prosecution's objections. That'll be 15 minutes.
All rise.
How can Sid attack Tangi like this? It's abuse. What's wrong with him?
Sweetheart, he's just doing his job.
To hurt Tangi? This is why people become lawyers?
Oh, come on, let's get a soda.
Yeah.
I used to think that there was justice in this country.
The system works here better than it does anywhere else in the world.
Not if it lets someone who is telling the truth get treated like that. Like she is the one who's done something wrong. The same thing would have happened to Lucy if she'd accused Brent of rape. Lucy would have been the one on trial.
Yeah, probably. One of the main reasons why I'm glad Brent's dead.
Women have put up with this for too long. Why is it always the woman who ends up with her morals being questioned?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You are really going to regret going after your father.
Look, and Alex, I'm not having this conversation with you, Alex. Okay?
Just don't call me that, because I don't consider you a member of the family anymore.
Well, then we're even, because I really haven't felt like one lately.
And don't you dare use that tone of voice with me. Young man, I mean, you have become the most spoiled, self-centered little...
Oh, Michael, let's go.
No, Lucy, just go ahead yourself, because I'm not through here.
Yes, you are. And don't ever order Lucy to do anything.
Fine. Just don't be fooled, Lucy, because this man is as power-hungry and controlling as his father ever was.
Well, if I am, it's because Daddy was such a good teacher.
I remember how you treated your father in prison. You went after Spaulding with anything and everything you could get your hands on for you. You could have it for yourself.
Really? Unlike yourself?
Yes, and he went after Nick, too. Did you tell you all about that? How he used his cousin?
Yes. But she knows. She knows all of it. She knows the disease that I carry with the name Spaulding. She also knows how it's ruined your life and my father's life.
So
but it's not going to ruin mine, Aunt Alex, because I'm cured. I'm going to run Spaulding as I see fit. But I am not going to forget what is really important. Excuse me. Can you believe this?
Hey, I've been trying to tell my mother the same thing for a long time. Maybe someday she'll pay attention.
All rise. Judge Jordan is ready to resume.
Please be seated. Miss Hill, will you please take the stand again?
Alan, it is even better than I expected. It'll all be over soon, darling.
The court has decided to allow Mr. Dickerson to pursue his line of questioning. Are you ready to resume, Mr. Dickerson? Mr. Dickerson?
Oh, excuse me, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
Miss Hill, you're still under oath.
Miss Hill, is it fair to say that you've known quite a number of men since you've been in Springfield intimately?
It's not fair to even suggest it.
But the facts say otherwise. We have Josh Lewis, who was once an executive at Lewis Oil. Did you have a romantic relationship with him?
A short time.
And did you travel with him to the family's recreational place in Oklahoma?
Yes.
You were also involved with other prominent men, right? One being Alan Michael Spaulding, the son of the defendant. And then after him, you have Detective Patrick Cutter, the arresting officer in this case. Is that true?
Overruled.
It's hard to even answer that question.
Okay, well, let me make it easier for you. Why don't you tell us about these relationships?
Alan Michael Spaulding and I are strictly friends. The same goes with Patrick Cutter. There was nothing physical going on whatsoever.
Oh, but Alan Michael Spaulding just spent several weeks with you last summer, did he not? And in your home, there is one bed and one room. Now, Miss Hill, are we all to believe that during all this time, nothing physical happened between you two?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
You can believe whatever you want. Nothing physical happened.
Well, do you always make a habit of living with your male friends?
Of course not. Do you?
Perhaps it just seems that way.
Perhaps.
Miss Hill, isn't it true that actually you struck out with all three of these men? Detective Patrick Cutter, Josh Lewis, and Alan Michael Spaulding?
Objection.
Careful, Mr. Dickerson.
I'll rephrase it, Your Honor. Isn't it true that each one of these relationships ended unhappily, Miss Hill, with all three men rejecting you?
Nobody rejected me.
And when Alan Spaulding became the latest in a long line of suitors to spurn you, you decided to get back at him, didn't you?
No.
Oh, Miss Hill, you became sick and tired of the fact that you kept being dumped on by these powerful men. So you decided to create this whole incredible story to try to hurt
I did not
Alan
make
Spaulding.
up this
Who
story.
raised you, Miss Hill?
My parents.
Okay. Now, who raised you when they were sentenced to prison as traitors to their country?
Roger Thorpe.
Roger Thorpe. Now, are you aware that Roger Thorpe considers Mr. Spaulding to be a bitter enemy?
It goes both ways.
Really? So how would you categorize their relationship?
I don't know. They hate each other?
Mm-hmm. You love Roger Thorpe, don't you?
I care for him. I think he's a good man.
Yeah, and you're grateful to him?
Yes.
You're right, and you're loyal to him, even to all those close friends of yours that try to turn you against him,
I think it's happened once or twice.
Uh-huh. His battles are your battles, correct?
Not necessarily.
Roger Thorpe used to be president of Spaulding Enterprises, correct?
Yes.
And when he was out of there, he wanted it back, did he not?
Objection, Your Honor. How can the witness possibly know what Mr. Thorpe does or does not want? And more importantly, how is that relevant to this case?
Sustained.
Had Roger Thorpe even told you that it was his dream to one day win back the company that he once ran?
I suppose it's
Yes or no, Miss Hill?
Yes.
You want Mr. Thorpe to be happy, don't you?
Of course I do.
Yes, you feel you owe him, don't you?
In some ways.
In some ways, and you want to repay him for that kindness, I assume.
Yes.
Right, and this is why you decided to try to undermine Alan Spaulding. Isn't that true, Mrs. Hill? Isn't this all about helping your surrogate father get what he wants?
No, it's not true. I mean, none of that's true. Alan told me the whole story.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Redirect, Mr. Robinson.
Yes, Your Honor, please.
Miss Hill, is it true that Alan Spaulding came to see you last night?
Yes, he did.
In an attempt to persuade you not to testify today.
Yes, that's right.
Did he urge you to run away with him? To go with him to Europe where he would be safe from prosecution?
Yes, he did.
And how did you respond?
I said no.
I have no further questions or witnesses, Your Honor. May I remind the court that I need not present enough evidence to convict Alan Spaulding, merely enough to bring him to trial.
No reminder necessary, Mr. Robinson.
Your Honor, the court has heard testimony from 2 witnesses to whom Mr. Spaulding himself made admissions of his guilt. We feel we have a strong enough case to bind the defendant for trial.
Mr. Dickerson?
Your Honor, these 2 witnesses have the same motive to want to see my client hurt. Every word out of their mouth is filled with personal malice.
I have subpoenaed a 3rd witness, Miss Brent Lawrence's sister. She's willing to come forward and corroborate everything that Alan Michael Spaulding and Miss Hill have said.
Your Honor, the late Brent Lawrence is an alleged rapist who admitted to framing Alan Spaulding's son. So now why wouldn't he then frame the father as well?
Is that all, gentlemen?
I have nothing further.
We've made our case.
Well, this preliminary hearing will recess so the court can make a decision as whether or not to bind Alan Spaulding to trial. I'll alert the attorneys when I'm ready to announce my decision.
All rise.
It's worse, guys. Hey.
I haven't been on one of these in years.
Hop on.
Get on it? Challenge? Fine. All right.
Well, you go pretty fast. Almost 10, 12 years old. Well, I see you've done this before. I'm gonna get sick. Thanks.
That was fun. Quit?
I'm free, Lucy. I did it. Not for my father, not for my family. For me. I did it for me. No matter what happens now, I won. I won.
All rise.
Please be seated. I've reached my decision on whether Alan Spaulding should be bound for trial. I've reached my decision on whether Alan Spaulding should be bound over for trial on the charges of aiding and abetting a fugitive and obstruction of justice. Will the defendant rise? These are serious charges,
Terribly serious. Abuse of power, the sort of power that comes from wealth and influence, is something I find particularly abhorrent. I listened very carefully to the testimony of the prosecution's witnesses, Mr. Alan Michael Spaulding and Miss Hill, and though their words were clearly troubling, I must conclude that this is a case of two people's uncorroborated testimony versus another's. Therefore, I find there's insufficient evidence to bind Mr. Spaulding.
Did you hear that? Alan!
Order. Mr. Spaulding, the charges against you have been dropped. You're free to go.
Oh, man. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Come on, it doesn't matter.
You and your attention, you got away with it.
So what? You did the right thing. It was a difficult thing, all right? Remember what you told me in the park? You won anyway.
It was nice if we could have gotten hold of his
Well, Alan Michael, I hope it was all worth it. I hope you got whatever bogus noble satisfaction you were expecting from all this.
Yes.
You know, I tried to warn you were going to lose, but you wouldn't listen to me. And now you are ruined as a businessman in this community.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, I think you underestimate the loyalty your father commands.
Oh, sure, yeah. I saw all the loyalists coming out in droves, including you. I think there was a grand total of 1.
Well, people are going to hear about this, and they hate treachery. There's going to be a very loyal, vocal surround.
Are you threatening me?
I'm really hoping you remember how to sling hash, dear, because that's what you're going to be doing, putting hot little...
Somebody had to draw the line, and I did it.
Al, don't be rude against Alan Michael here. He's the last best hope your family has.
And you know, Buzz, there used to be a time I could depend on you.
Ditto, kiddo.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Al Michael? Let's go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't put this in the win column. This is a loss for the Spaulding family.
Oh, no, Buzz. This is your win. I just gained a short-order cook.
Farce. It is a farce. The whole justice system in this country is a farce.
You've never said that before.
Oh, what? You know, I actually thought that Spaulding was going to get the book thrown at him. That is a farce.
He got off on all these charges.
Well, you know, the system doesn't always work.
Oh, yeah, but it's the best one we have, right, Frank? Come on, this is all about class. Somebody in this neighborhood commits a crime, gets a finger pointed at him, they go straight to jail. They do not pass go.
Well, you know what? The judge seemed pretty fair to me. She just didn't have enough evidence.
When were you born, Frank? Come on, this is about class. A white-collar crook knows the judge. Come on, they play golf together. They go to the same churches together.
Okay.
They worship Mammon. They collect porcelain together for what?
Please.
What?
We're all upset about Alan getting off. Of course we are.
Yeah, the guy is scum. He's the lowest.
His
What?
son is right over there.
I know. What the kid knows it. The kid knows his father more than anybody else does.
Please, he's had a tough day. I mean, in court, Sid made him look like he was the guilty one.
I was there, Nadine.
I know you were there, Buzz. Can't you just go a little easier on the boy?
Oh, you're right.
Hey, kid, I'm sorry.
God, me too.
No, listen, you know, you took guts to stand up to your old man like that.
I didn't think he was going to get away with any of this.
Chili.
Hi.
You don't look so good.
Hi.
Well, neither do any of you.
Jilly, you know you're always welcome here, but I don't think we can handle Sid right now.
No. Don't worry, Lucy. I'm alone.
Something's happened.
No, Nadine, it's going to be all right. Everything's going to be just fine.
I don't know about that, Jerry. Look at you. Honey, you're shaking.
Look, have a seat, please. Calm down.
No.
All right, thanks. Listen, Alan Michael, I really tried to talk Sid out of defending your father today. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
It's over. It's over. Okay.
Certainly over. Sid? What?
Chili, did you break up with him because of today?
I have never seen him like that before. I've never seen that. He was cold and mean and unrelenting. It's just, he kept badgering at...
Jilly, why don't I get you something cold to drink, let you calm down a minute, all right?
Thank you, Nadine.
Coming right up. You love Sid, Jilly.
Oh, Helene, how can I love somebody like that?
Maybe you better not make any rash decisions right now. I mean, we're all upset about the hearing. And Sid is a lawyer. He was doing his job.
You know, there was a time that Sid cared more about people rather than a paycheck.
I don't admire what Sid did today any more than you do, Jilly. But there was something very strong between you two.
I'm sorry, I cannot accept what he did today.
If two people really care about each other, they can work through their problems.
You know, you and Frank, you have this strong, good marriage. That's the kind of marriage that I was hoping for. But this is not about somebody leaving the cap off the toothpaste or somebody forgetting to pay the light bill. These are fundamental differences.
Oh, Jilly, it's so sad, though, if you really love each other.
I'm sorry, I really don't feel like talking about this anymore.
Jilly, I think we have to.
Hey, Sid, after what you did to Alan Michael, this isn't a good idea.
Listen, Buzz, I don't think you have anything to do with this or anybody else in here. Jilly, please, let's just go somewhere and talk.
Sid, I already told you I don't want to hear anything else.
Okay, not here.
Why? You can say anything you have to say in front of my friends.
Listen,
Which word didn't you understand, Sid?
Oh, okay. Listen, you know, this is really, really crazy. I was hired to do what I had to do, Jilly. It's just like what news people do. I mean, they do what they have to do. They carve people up every day. They do it in newspapers, on TV, and it's nothing personal. Alan Michael, listen, help me out here, because I know you know the score.
No.
There is no comparing what you did to reporting the news, Sid.
I'm not trying to compare anything to anything. All I know is that I want you back. Jilly, come on, please. Just come with me. Come on.
Julia, I'm going into the kitchen. Why don't you come with me?
Julie.
How many more people are going to be hurt by this?
Glasses! Nadine, come on. Put on some music.
You got it.
We got Red Sea in here. We're dancing. We're dancing and we're drinking till we forget what happened in the courtroom beer until we drop. Whichever comes first. Come on.
Thank you.
Like this.
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's over, Lucy. I don't want to waste any more time thinking about my father or things past, any of it, you know? Unless you had... That's all I got you. And you got the future.
Can I help you?
No, thank you.
Lucy, wait a minute. Come on in.
Well, I don't really want to hold you up or anything.
Oh, honey, you're not at all. I'm just finished my shift, and I'm not in a rush to go home. What can I do for you?
You know, it's really no big deal. I shouldn't have really
Lucy,
gone.
wait a minute. I know why you're here. I know it's the possibility of you having HIV.
Please tell me I don't have it. Please tell me that I'm not going to die.
Well, I would sincerely hope that I can expect the full support from the entire board from now on. If there are certain individuals, however, who have a problem with that, then maybe they should make themselves known right now.
You're referring to me, Alan Michael.
Well, if the shoe fits, Glenn. You helped my father to undermine me. Now, I cannot effectively run this company
He
and
should
deal
be
with spies every
president
minute
of this
the day.
company. Now that he's already been cleared of those ridiculous charges, he should be able to return to this company. And I'm not the only one who thinks that way.
Well, then why don't we put it to a special vote, Glenn? If you're right and there is more support from my father as president than myself, then I will step down without another word.
That's not necessary.
No, please, Mel. I can't take being second-guessed anymore. Why don't we put it to a show of hands? All those in favor of my father being reinstated as president of Spaulding Enterprises, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All those in favor of my maintaining control? Figures. A tie.
Well, not for long. Looks as if I have the deciding vote.
Lucy, we don't even know you've got HIV.
Yeah, I know, but what if I do?
Well, we'll deal with that if the time comes. Right now, what we have to deal with is the not knowing part of it.
Yeah, well, I'm not so sure which part is worse.
Let's talk about it.
It's hard to talk about it. I mean, I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to make it till October. I barely made it up this morning, and if I have to put this stupid smile on my face, make believe that everything is just fine, one more day, I think I'm gonna explode.
I remember.
What? Why, you thought that you were HIV?
No, but I had something I didn't want to find out about that I was afraid of.
Well, you don't have to tell me what it is if it's personal.
No, you see, I had breast cancer a few years ago, and the doctor did a lumpectomy.
Wow, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Are you all right now?
Yeah, I'm fine, but I couldn't have said that 6 months ago.
Why?
Because, just like you, I was afraid to go to the doctor. You know, when you've had cancer, you have to go regularly to make sure there's no recurrence. But I didn't want to go because I was afraid of the bad news.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel.
Yeah, you think, well, if I've got it, it's too late anyway. And there's nothing they can do about it, so why not just keep on living in ignorant bliss,
Yeah, that's for sure.
But the problem is, once you know that there's a chance you're sick, that problem gets bigger and bigger in your mind, and it becomes a lot worse than the reality is.
So, what made you finally decide to go to the doctor?
Guilt. And I had a friend who kept on badgering me to get a mammogram. I was so angry at her. Now I'm really grateful.
I guess it turned out well, huh?
Yeah, it did. And hopefully it will next time, because I know I'm going to be terrified to go again, but I know I'm going to go this time. You see, if you let the fear take over, it becomes much worse than really finding out what's going on.
I want to believe that.
See, this is what your family are for and your friends. When you don't have enough strength inside yourself, and I didn't either, you have to get it from outside, from your friends and your family. That's what Eleni can do for you. And what about Alan Michael?
Well, we all know how you're going to vote, Aunt Alex, so let's not waste everybody's time. What do you say? Right hand, my father takes over the company. Left hand, I maintain control.
Not quite so fast, Alan Michael. I think I deserve to be heard here.
Well, I hope you're all in the mood to hear my aunt list the many failings and mistakes of Alan Michael Spaulding, all of which will prove that I am the worst thing to ever happen
The best
to this
thing?
company. Excuse me.
The worst thing would be to allow my brother any part in this company.
What are you saying, Alexandra?
The truth, Glenn. Now, sit down. The last few weeks, I have learned quite a bit. I have watched Alan Michael's control. I've watched his cool under fire, his determination, and I admire it, and I support it. And I'm fully willing to work with this next generation to ensure the company's future.
Is your brother aware of this?
Well, if I know you, Glenn, before this meeting adjourns, he certainly will be. Now, would the rest of you please join me in encouraging Alan Michael's bold leadership to continue?
The final vote has not been taken.
When you're right, Glenn. We do need to put this down formally. Okay, now, how was it? Let's see. Right hand for my brother, left hand for Alan Michael. Congratulations.
This meeting is adjourned.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Victoria. So sorry, Glenn.
All the best.
Yes, well, let's hope so. Thank you very much. Good to see you. Thank you. Okay. What's this going to cost me?
Oh, Kathy, I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
tell Alan Michael. I can't. I can barely even kiss him without being afraid that I'm going to pass something on to him.
Okay, I'm going to give you some facts right now. If neither of you have any open sores in your mouth, there is no way you can spread the HIV virus through normal kissing. The only way you can spread it is through needles, sharing them, through unprotected sex, or through coming in direct contact with the HIV-infected blood.
It still scares me. I don't want to hurt him. Why me? Why? What did I ever do to anybody?
Oh, you sweet thing. Oh, honey, you didn't do a thing. You didn't do anything. You didn't deserve this. Nobody deserves it. It's not a punishment. Believe me, it's just an awful disease. And we don't even know you have this awful disease, do we? So I want you to live your life. This is so hard, and I know it sounds corny, but this is what I did. You live it one day at a time, and you go on just the way you would if this hadn't happened to you, this awful thing. Do you know what they have, Lucy, at the hospital? This helped me so much. They have this wonderful counseling program where you talk to other people who have the same fears you do.
Everybody tells me to do that, but I just don't think I can do that. And my family
Your family is a great comfort. You've got to turn to them. You can't shut them out. And Alan Michael, the last thing you can do right now is cut yourself off from love.
So, Alex, what do you need from me? An oath? Something in blood? What exactly is it that you need?
I need you to trust me. I need to be a part of this company.
You'll always be connected to it.
No, look, I have a great deal to offer, Alan Michael, and look, I don't want to run things. That's not what I'm saying. Though I may remind you, maybe myself even too, that when I did, we had profits skyrocketing. We were going into new areas and exceeding our own expectations.
Yes, you don't have to remind me.
Yes, and I did it without a brother or a son or a husband to hold my hand. Don't put me out to pasture. I can offer a great deal. I can help this company grow into the next century.
We've had a lot of bad blood between the two of us and Alex in the past.
I know, but we're both on the same side now. Alan Michael, I need some hands-on work. I need something to sink my teeth into. Let's face it, I wanted it to be me and my son, and you wanted it to be you and your father. And we were both disappointed. But we have each other.
Oh, Michael, excuse me.
No, it's all right, Lucy. Come in. My aunt was just leaving.
Oh, please think about it. Lucy.
Talk about a sight for sore eyes.
Hey, I was wondering, what would happen if we left all the calls to the switchboard?
We could leave.
Could we possibly do that now?
Yeah, give me about 30 seconds.
Okay.
Come on.
This is a great idea.
Inspired.
Yeah, well, that's what I was today. Inspired.
You want to let me in on this?
Well, I decided that happiness isn't something that just happens. It's not like if you're lucky or unlucky. It's something that you have to work for. That's what I'm going to do. Work for it.
Really? To happiness. Fun. Too much? Too soon? Not good, but...
No, it's very good.